Good to see you back at the Ramen Spot.
It's been 3.5 years since I last played the Division 2. I think I was like most Division fans, and even though the Division 2 is an all-around better game than Division 1, it was definitely missing that intangible thing that made it stand out. In the name of better balance, it was missing the crazy, overpowered builds that the classified gear sets brought. And I don't mean that as a criticism. Developers can balance the game however they want. I get the feeling that as Division 1 approached the end of its life, they just let the builds get out of hand because the game was going to get replaced by its sequel anyway. And it was definitely missing the quiet and terrifying ambiance that the snowy, silent streets of New York brought to the first game. DC never had a chance to match that feeling, but the developers definitely tried their best. The Division 2 was a great game, and we had a great time with it. One of the big things I remember being impressed with was how Massive solved the in-game problem that a lot of games like this struggle with. They had a full campaign where you took out the leadership of the criminal factions and saved the day, but at the end, a completely new faction shows up to change everything, and the power vacuum you left out in the streets is filled by other power-hungry leaders who stepped up to take charge. It was a stroke of genius, and me and the clan loved our time with the game in that first year. I bought Warlords of New York, the expansion that arrived in the second year of Division 2, but over time, between all the waiting for clanmates to get theirs and playing other great games that were coming out, eventually, it had been years since I had last touched the game. I honestly thought since no other expansions had come out that there was no new content in the game. And then randomly one day I searched up the story of the Division and I was surprised to see that so much had happened in the time that I had been gone. For the sake of spoilers for those who may return to the game in the future, I won't say what, but I will say that the story continued developing year over year, season over season. For a player that had been away as long as I have, I was amazed to see how much the developers had added to the game in the years I had been away. The New York location is gorgeous. Even without the snow, the towering buildings and cramped streets bring so much to the atmosphere that can't be replicated in the more wide open DC location. Fox was particularly impressed with the returning wildlife in the area, including all the pets in the safe houses. The shooting mechanics and smart enemy tactics to counter what you are trying to do are as good as ever, and remind me why we love this game every time we get into a fight. There's the seasons I talked about, which revolve around manhunts, where, similar to the campaign structure of the Warlords of New York expansion, you take on various objectives around the game world in order to gather intelligence and investigate either dangerous targets that you need to eliminate or missing persons that you need to rescue. Each of the several of these that have released since Warlords is its own next chapter of the Division story, leading up to some truly surprising twists. More raids, missions, and activities have been added, and one of my favorites is the Summit, a 100-floor fight up a skyscraper under construction, where you can adjust the targeted loot that drops to be literally whatever you want. Running this activity got me every piece of gear I needed for my first build since being back, all in one day. Now, keep in mind, this is not a maxed out build because this is a looter shooter and the hook that keeps you grinding is improving the gear that you have. But you can at least get the pieces you need to get off to a good start this way. There are global events happening that are returning from earlier seasons, so it may not be that exciting for older players, but for me, since I wasn't around during those earlier seasons to play these events, I've been loving it. The loot is literally raining in from every direction. You guys know why the Ramen Spot is here. We play games together as a group of friends, and we like to share what makes these games that we play so good with others who are looking for a game to get into with their own friends. Or maybe get back into in this case. If you used to play the Division and are wondering should you give it another try, my answer to that, if you have the Warlords of New York expansion, definitely yes. It's fun, plain and simple. Grab some friends and rediscover what made you love this masterpiece in the first place.
From both of us here at the Ramen Spot, we want to share our thanks for spending a little time with us. We'll have much more to share very soon, so don't forget to subscribe. See you later.
Right in the kneecap. You ever killed a man by shooting him in the knee twice? I have.
You throwing off my aim with that stupid.
I'm going to